All right. So we'll continue to let people filter in, but I want to welcome everyone to the webinar first. My name is Z, and I'm part of the organizing team at Fuller Impact. So I want to give you a really warm welcome to this webinar. I hope you guys have had your dinner, and I hope you're in for a very interesting conversation. I don't want to keep everyone for too long, so we'll go ahead and start with the introduction first. I want to present my Fuller Impact's Chief Executive Officer, Imran.
Okay, hello, hi, good evening, everyone. Glad you made it. And can see we've got some friends joining from different parts of the region as well. Welcome, great to have you here. I'm Imran, CEO of Fuller Impact. We're a B Corp certified company based here in Kuala Lumpur, but we work across the region. So helping businesses treating sustainability not just as a responsibility, but as a profitable and scalable business strategy. So training, consulting, technology, that's basically our role. Just to get a little bit of a quick one before we start, can we have a show of hands or drop of emojis in the chat if you've heard of B Corp before tonight? Just curious how many of us are walking in coal. Do you have any emojis coming in?
You can also drop your emojis in the Q&A chat as well. We'll be able to see them then.
Just to get a feel. Oh, there you go. It's coming in. All right, cool. Well, thank you for sharing your emojis. For those who dropped one, great. For those who didn't, you're absolutely in the right place. And quite honestly, even if you have heard of it, most people still have no idea what it actually takes to get there. So I talk to businesses about this every day. So trust me on that one. Oh yeah. Just another thing is that B Corp is not Berjaya Group, yeah. So completely different thing there. Just to give you a little bit of the story behind why tonight matters to me personally. I was just talking about this with our panelists tonight, our speakers tonight. Sorry. So just to give a little bit of a backstory, back in the 90s, a man named John Elkington introduced an idea called the triple bottom line. So a simple concept really, that a business should measure itself not just on profit, but on people and planet too. That thinking genuinely shaped how I see businesses basically, and in the foundation of everything we built at Fuller as well. So when B Lab was set up in 2006, it was built on the foundation of the triple bottom line. They built it on one belief that business can be a force for good. So just like, a little bit of a Star Wars inspiration there as well. So when I came across B Corp back in 2018, it just clicked right away. So we got our own B Corp certification early last year. Took us a while, I won't lie. But for us, it was really about the certificates itself. It's how we measure ourselves, how we build our internal structures, and how we have honest conversation about where we actually stand as a business. And in today's world where clients and partners are asking about your governance practices or even your ESG standing as well, having a globally recognized third party verify what you make, what you do in publicly available as well, that means something. So we may not have the highest score for us ourselves at Fuller, but there's that is not entirely the point. That B Corp is about continuous improvements. It's not about perfection. So that actually what keeps it very, very much meaningful. So now tonight, Fuller Impact, we co-organized this tonight together with the team of Ganesh Tim, because we genuinely believe this conversation needs to happen more in Malaysia and across the region as well. A lot of businesses are already doing great sustainability work. They just don't have the language, may not have the language, the framework, or the credential to show it yet. So tonight is about changing that. So the plan for tonight is Ibeng from Ganesh team is going to lay out what B Corp actually is and what the process looks like. Then we hear straight from two Malaysian businesses who've gone through it as well. So we have amazing signature market and also above creative events, event company, amazing effort there. The real story, basically, they're going to be sharing tonight, the gaps they found, the surprises, and what life looks like on the other side, essentially. So no textbook stuff tonight. Is going to be, this is a safe space. So if you have questions, as what Z mentioned just now, do put it up, share it in. Let's have that conversation going. So just, conversations coming from the people who have done it, telling you how it actually went. So without holding back anymore, Ibeng, over to you.
Thanks so much, Imran. It's always inspiring to hear you speak. Yeah. So, yeah, everyone, hi, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending where you're tuning in from. I'm Yibing. I'm the head of ESG services in Janesh team. But I wear multiple hats because we are also appointed as the advocates for B Corp in Southeast Asia region. I have some slides and presentation. Just allow me some time. I'm going to just put it on the screen. Let me know if you already can see my screen. All good?
Perfectly.
All good.
Okay, great. So a little bit background about B Corp. B Lab is actually the organizations behind the entire B Corp certifications, and Imran rightly said 20 years ago, it was actually founded by three friends, Bart Hulahan, Jay Cohen Gilbert, and also the late Andrew Kasoy, who just passed away unfortunately early this year due to cancer. Now, they started B Corp because, of an issue. It's always starting with why. That's why I really like, the three circles by Simon Sinek. When companies start, any company starts, it starts with why, right? Now, Jay and Bart both are college mates, and they started a company called M1. Essentially, it's a basketball shoes company. At one point, they are second to Nike in the US. So they implemented a lot of good stuff. For example, looking after the employees, looking after your suppliers, provide a lot of cares into their product to ensure that, circularities are in place. We are talking about this before even sustainability and ESG become very trendy, right? But, the unfortunate truth is that when they actually sold off the company. The new investors comes in. Well, not to be blaming them, of course, but due to how economic structure is all about and how the legal structure is in the US, companies are just not feasible to design in a way that it looks after all stakeholders. So that's why, Bart and Jay was thinking maybe they had to start another organizations and trying to prove otherwise. But, you end up back to square one. You sold off your companies. Companies who buy over you would just going back to, the default, right? Where we start to really maximize your profit, trying to cut costs and so on. Now, essentially, it's not a bad thing. It's actually by design. And you have to understand that, without um, proper business model, business doesn't work, and forget about impacts and otherwise, right? We do understand all that, but at least one way we now have an idea that the challenge is actually the economic system. The challenge is about the governance, the law, how it shapes, right? And eventually they come up with the idea that why not we come up with the standards. And in fact, one way is also to gather all these organizations that does do things right, to have one united voices rather than you shouting out, cascading the voices and without consolidating into one power. So why not we brand it under one? So that's why um, B Corp started with this mission, a very high one, I would say, is really to make a ecosystemic change for our economic system to be more inclusive, equitable, and also regenerative. Yeah, but to cut all the mumbo jumbles and all these technical details, what we want to is that we want to create a world where the economy system benefits everyone. So that's why we don't say we are A Corp. Some Asian ask us why not A, B, So B is actually benefits for everyone. and there is no planet B for you to stay in. This is the only planet that we are going to help on. A little bit history about us. We founded the B Market Builder. Essentially, we are the advocates in this part of the world. So if let's say you're applying for B Corp and you hear any news about B Corp, most likely you will see my face. We started in 2018, where we just handling Malaysia, Singapore, and eventually in 2022, Singapore was being passed over to our partner, establishing B Lab Singapore, while we take over the rest of Southeast Asia, right? And in fact, Janesh team, the organization that I work with, is actually the second company to be certified. Back then, B Corp is not even a word here back in 2015. So today, after 20 years, we have more than 10,000 companies hiring more than a million employees, more than 160 industries presence in 100 over countries with just one single goal. So essentially, that is actually the footprint of us. But how it looks in Southeast Asia, in Singapore, of course, our very jealous neighbor, they are always ahead. And of course, second, we have Indonesia, third followed by Malaysia. We are still growing. Next followed by Philippines, Thai, and so on, right? But while we are still growing communities, just above 120, 110, and 120, but collectively we are about, total revenue of the collective forces is around 3.8 billion USD. This is also thanks to some of the large companies. If you know, Danone is actually one of the popular certified B Corp. Patagonia is another one. Danone has a significant presence here. In fact, the largest companies that got certified is actually Aqua. Aqua is the what they call the what they call filtered water, the largest filtered water brand in Indonesia, right? But of course, we do understand that, in order for a systemic change, we don't expect everyone to become a B Corp. I think the most powerful tools in B Lab is actually the B Impact Assessment. Now, you can imagine that this is a system, an encyclopedia system where you have all your sustainability practice in one place. And as some of you may know that recently we have updated our standards. We no longer use the old rating system, which means that we don't have, your 200, 300 over questions and come back with the 80-point score. We have simplified it to maybe maximum up to 100 over questions if you are a multinational. If you're a small company, maybe we have about 20 over questions. But here's the catch. We start to align with major global standards and, a term we call the interoperability, right? Where, for example, you comply with A, you're automatically aligning, for example, with what they call the EU's CSRD reporting framework, right? The ESRS, or maybe partially covered what they call the essence prescribed in IFRS S1 and S2 standard, which is also now popularized by the MRIS under the Malaysia government, right? So the B Impact Assessment platform, basically, we translate all the ESG standards into a form of questions. You just need to answer the questions. And these platforms are no joke. It's actually trusted by more than 300,000 companies around the globe who are actively using it. And some of the stakeholders that are actively adopting the BIA include NASDAQ One Report. NASDAQ is actually the second largest exchange platform in the world. And also, it is actually used for some of you who are in the manufacturing, perhaps you have come across this Domestic Investment Accelerator grant by MIDA. It is still alive now. So if you are manufacturing companies and some of the service industry that is acceptable by MIDA, do check us out, because you can actually apply grant, not just for B Corp, but also for other sustainability matters. But MIDA has partnered with us, to use the BIA platform as how comprehensive we are. We measured everything when it comes to company's operation. That's why we are being used as one of the tools to start benchmarking organizations and eventually providing useful data for government to prioritize their allocations and also their strategies. Lastly, we are also collaborating very closely with bioeconomy corporations. This is actually the agencies looking after the bio-based sector in Malaysia under the purview of MOSTI. Yeah, so to give you an overview, what are the things that we cover? This is actually under the new standard. The older standards was a little bit more simplified. This is 5 areas, but now we have expanded into these 7. We have on the governance side, most likely in the PSG, purpose and stakeholder governance. Under the environmental side, we have climate action and environmental circularity. Also for the S side, we have the fair work and also the human rights. Of course, JEDI as well as part of it, and to a certain extent, the government affair and also community activism, right? So we pretty much cover all across the ESG as how the investor has popularized the sustainability. And you can expect that, you know, when you comes to the B impact assessment, you will see all these type of questions to measure every single element of your organizations when it comes to designing a sustainability system, right? Basically, it's a blueprint for your organization to get started. And I think some of my friends here were attested to that later on. In terms of the process, I'm afraid I don't have much time, so I just give you a very brief idea. These are the 5 simple steps. First, you just need to create an account. Step 2, complete company info. Now, why important? Because we know and we recognize that different companies, different industries may have a different areas of focus. So, for example, if you're in the service sector, we may not really take you accountable for, let's say, your circularity in terms of your products. You know, if you're dealing with service, there is no circularity there, right? Technically speaking. Then step 3, complete the B impact. Basically, after you complete your profile, a customized question will be provided and you answer it. For step 4, review your impact reports, basically to really understand where is your gap. And of course, the final step is whether you want to decide to go for B Corp. Now, the good thing is for the first 4 steps, you can perform it without any charges, right? You are being able to access to global standards, align with the major global frameworks. You know, we are talking about GRI, IFRS, ESRS, and so on, all the alphabet soups. And to take one final steps, if you want to go for accreditation, that is where the third party will come in and verify what you have claimed. But otherwise, it is a very robust sustainability management system that you can count on and to develop your sustainability blueprint. So I would stop there. I believe that later on we may have more time, you know, for our conversation. But you know, I will pass it back to our host for the next speakers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yibeng. And speaking of the B impact assessment, so we'll get to hear it from Amelia Tan, a compliance manager from Signature Market, and she'll share her experience on what it took to get her B Corp certification. Over to you, Amelia.
Thank you, Zhe-En. Thank you, Yibeng. And also thank you, Imran, for sharing your valuable insights about what is B Corp is and some brief history of what B Lab is. So good evening to everyone here. I'm Amelia from Signature Market. So for those who may not know us, Signature Market is a Malaysian lifestyle grocer. So we manufacture and distribute products like basically healthy snacks and also wellness product like almond nut, cashew nuts, all the different type of tree nuts where we do our own manufacturing in-house, and also other healthy snacks that we curated based on the Malaysian taste and flavors. And of course, right now we are selling, we are distributing across both the online and the retail channel. So some of you who may drop by in Malaysia do check us out on all our website as well as the retailers. So myself, I'm currently involved in sustainability as well as leading the compliance department. So technically speaking, I am one of the main beekeeper. I would call myself as a beekeeper. Beekeeper, as in pun intended, is to upkeep the B Corp certification at Essential Market. So expanding or extending from myself, I also train up my fellow colleagues as well as my management level to become a beekeeper as well. So we are all in the same hive of becoming the force for good, as how both Imran and Yibing has put across to everyone over here. So I'm going to share with all of you two things, two main points during my entire B Corp journey. So the first point I would share is my blind spot discovery, and second point is the some of the benefits that I gained throughout this journey. So let's cut the chase. First of all, the BIA, which is known as the Business Impact Assessment, the tool that was being shared by Yibing. It is a very good tool that helped us to discover the blind spot. Because for Essential Market, just a little bit of backdrop story, even before we are being certified as a B Corp, our company vision is to contribute to the community lifestyle in terms of their body, mind, and spirit. So I'm pretty sure some of you may have experienced or observed, when during the pandemic, there was a very, very upwarding trend that people have a lot of mental health issues and whatnot. So Essential Market was one of the local Malaysian brand that actually advocated for mental health. So we even have a dedicated department called Community Department to actually spearhead this movement. And thereon, we start to not only just contributing to the community, we now contributing to the planet as well. As what Yibing has put it, we only have one planet. There is no planet B. Yeah. So the blind spot that helped us is not only it helped us to discover that, oh, there are the planet portion that we are yet to spread our contribution to benefit our society or our community that we are serving. So some of the main gap that surfaced actually thanks to this BIA is first of all the greenhouse gases tracking. Some of you may have heard of it, which is known as the carbon footprint, the carbon dioxide footprint. Yeah, so this is one of the main gap it surfaced. Secondly is those formality of the policies, like for example, policies that are likened to those listed companies, human rights policy, labor policy, the health and occupational health and safety policy, and so on and so forth. These are the two main gaps that we discover thanks to the BIA. And I would like to share with you that this blind spot, we not only know the gap, the best part of it is we are being given, together with the BIA, the interoperable standards that is enabling us as a first-timer, being a B Corp or beekeeper, on how to comply with each of those requirements. So it's like, this is for Malaysian. If you take any examination like SPM, there are model answer already. I mean, to put it that way, there are model answer for you to do benchmarking, and you can pick and plug and play and do some adaptability according to your company vision and mission, and also your business processes, such that when you document down those formal policies and the procedures that come together with it, it's a sure way for you to comply already. So this is the best part about BIA in helping us to discover all the blind spots. So it doesn't go like, oh, you shall need to follow this standard. Let's say, for example, by CSRD, or for example, standards like the SBTI, or the standards like with the ISO 14,000 and whatnot. A lot of we jokingly call it the total numbers. So it gives you a lot of model answer that you can really pick and benchmark it and adopt it to your own practices. So all these are a very, very good blind spot discovery while we are using this BIA. Now, I would like to share with you all the second point, which is the benefits that we do enjoy. I think I give you a few glimpses already. One of it definitely is blind spot discovery. Nonetheless, I would like to talk about the initiative that we have established after we discover all our blind spot. So one of the benefit is we implemented those the rest of the sustainability initiative according to all those pillars. Of course, when I was certified, we are following the old standard, which was 5 pillars only. Now there are more pillars, up to 7 pillars, 7 or 8 pillars. Those pillars, right, that actually help us to more align to the international standard. And the one of the most recent benefit that we gain as a lifestyle brand, as a lifestyle grocer, is we won a challenge being a SME in Malaysia. This challenge is called the SME ESG challenge. So we won it with our SME Corp and SME Bank. We won a 300,000 ringgit worth of PR sponsorship, which was sponsored by Astro Malaysia. So we get to be featured with this PR sponsorship. And secondly, was the B Corp certification was 70% reimbursed by MIDA. So thanks to their very strong partnership between B Lab and MIDA, we are able to secure this grant that really help us to save 70% of our costs for our first certification cycle, which lasted for 3 years. So these are the 2 main points that I would like to share with everyone over here. Feel free to drop me questions later on when we are in the Q&A. So thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you so much, Amelia, for sharing your very unique, and surely it was difficult, but I'm so glad that you guys got certified. And next on, we want to invite Miss Mickey and also Miss, sorry. Can you hear me? Sorry, my mic cut out for a bit there.
Yes.
Sorry, Miss Mickey and Miss Kelly here. And they are from Above Creative Events. And as an event company, I'm sure most people will be curious, how did you guys manage to get your B Corp certification as well? So please go ahead and give us all the insights you can into your journey.
Sure. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, depending on where you're dialing in. And my name is Mickey, and I'm the Chief Imagination Officer of Above Creative Events, ACE. So we are a corporate event agency and professional conference management in Malaysia and Singapore. We've been around in Malaysia since 2007. So this year marked our 19 years in business. So if I'm being honest, when we started in 2007, actually nobody was talking about ESG. Nobody asking about carbon footprint, nobody asking about human rights, and nobody cared about supplier screening. So client only asked one thing: can you deliver the events? And that was enough. But over the years, something started changing. Client began asking different questions, like not just what we do, but how we do. Who do we work with? How do we treat our people? What values do we stand for? And honestly, at first, we didn't have a very good answer. Not because we were not doing the right things, but because many of those practices already live in our culture, not in a framework and not in a report, until we discovered B Corp. And what B Corp gave us was something very, very valuable. It gave us whatever we are doing, a language, a way to translate our things we already believe in into something measurable, structured, and also accountable. And while I was busy running events and growing the business, Kelly took on the challenges of turning that conversation into an actual certification journey. So I think maybe I'll just pass the difficult part to Kelly and let her share what happened when we first sat down with the B Impact assessment. Yeah, Kelly.
Hello everyone, I'm Kelly, the Assistant Marketing Manager from Above Creative Events. So yeah, basically I'm the lead who take over this B Corp certification when we first discovered this ESG certification. And actually, in fact, when we start to explore this certification, it's mainly pure from, I mean, from my point of view, from a marketing, it's really for branding purpose. But along the way, when I sat down with the B impact assessment, I noticed that we can actually do so much thing from all the items and also insight in there in the assessment itself. In fact, it's a free assessment that we can actually explore in B Lab website. But of course, the certification that qualified this worth more and brings more value to our brand and also the company initiative itself. So honestly, I didn't know what to expect when I first opened the B Impact assessment. The one that I explore is the older version, older standard, which is happened to be a long assessment, consists of more than I think 200 plus questions. I was very shocked. It's such a long assessment. And to be honest, the whole journey to get certified took me around more than 6 months. Yeah, around there. And in fact, we explored this B impact assessment since 2022, but we only get certified 2026 because along the way, we actually try to relook whether do we really need to get certified with this B Corp. But somehow we managed to go through it. We went through this and then we get certified in April 2026. So proud to say that we are the first certified B Corp event agency in Malaysia. So hope that we can bring some insight to those that really going to take over this challenge as well. So actually overall, our score in the B Corp is actually quite average, I would say. And in the older standard, actually there's like what Yibing mentioned, there's 5 main category we're looking into. And actually the most that we strongest pillar is the workers part, which for an event agency actually makes sense for us because actually we are people business. We serve the people, we deliver the service to those clientele that we actually target and serve for. But it was still actually validating to see whether is it what we do is quantified. So financial security, health and wellness, career development, engagement, all this is actually not just a HR buzzword for us, but actually showing how we keep the good people in our company. So that's what we play very hard in the workers area so far. Okay, so for environment part, Mickey, you want to take over the environment part?
Oh yeah, that's the most painful part. We score only 2.8. So actually, not exactly a number you're proudly to frame and hang on the wall, but honestly, it was probably one of the most valuable findings in the whole assessment because it's for us to confront the reality. As an event company, most of our environmental impact doesn't happen in the office. It happened on the project side, temporary structure, production material, logistic, printing material, traveling. And while we care about sustainability, we realized we were not measuring it properly. The score wasn't telling us we didn't care. It was telling us that we didn't have a system. And sometimes that's exactly what a good assessment should do. Show you the blind spot you didn't know it exists. And from there on, we actually started fix on the environment part. Yes.
Yeah, so actually environmental part is still really something we are actively working on to enhance in our system as well. And if I could say one thing that I didn't see it's coming when I explore this assessment is the one of the pillar, the customer side. It's something called, I think in B Lab Grocery, there's this terms called purpose-driven enterprise. In short, we call it PDEs. So when I first read the terms, right, actually, I thought, okay, maybe it's something not really relevant to us because we serve corporate clients mostly. And then to me, there's a PDE is a wide definition, probably not very relevant to us at that time. But when I go through the client list along the certification process, we need to provide a lot of proof, a lot of documents to being certified. and also quantify our initiative. So, and when I go through our clientele, I realized that actually there's a significant portion of our recurring clients or loyal clients, and also the organization actually built around social or environmental mission, especially after pandemic. Slowly, these 2 years, we can see sustainable and also ESG topics is bringing up more often now as compared to before. So actually, most of these organizations are actually they serve a ESG and also sustainable mission and pillars in their own organization. So NGOs, professional associations, and also some impact-driven corporates are actually all considered as purpose-driven enterprise, which actually currently we are serving them. So we didn't go all out to deliberately build that portfolio, but it happened because of how we approach our client relationships. Maybe this is, I'm not sure whether is this the right way to say, but we are selective, to be honest, selective on our client. But what we care is about the cost behind the event. That's why we are selective. So we think about who we say yes to, and that counted. So it was recognized in the assessment. And actually we score this PDE. I think it's a extra mission unlock portion in the assessment as well. It serves as a extra points add on to the assessment, I guess. So honestly, finding this out felt like having something we already believe about ourselves confirmed on the paper. And it was also those moments that you think, oh, this is already who we are, but we actually don't know. Yeah, it's something I discovered along the way.
So one area that I found particularly interesting was the human rights and workers section. Because before B Corp, right, if you had asked me like whether ACE care about people, I would have immediately said, yes, of course we do. We are people business, right? We gotten a few regional awards about human rights and labor standard, talent management, good health and well-being. But when the BIA asks a different question, not do you care, but can you prove it? So that changed everything. It's actually made us revisit our employee handbook, which we already have it, but need to review frequently, review all our policy, not only internal, but whatever related to HR and human rights, like client due diligence policy, for example, what Kelly mentioned, like in one of the case study, like last year, actually in last year, we reject some of the deals is like big deals, good budget, but they are at the gray zone. So we decided to decline their invitation for the tender job and say no to them, even though they have a very big budget, because we do have a client due diligence policy that before on board, we already need to do all this checking. We also have a supplier code of conduct, strengthen our welfare program, document all our practices, and improve on our governance. Not because somebody told us to do, but because we realize that good intention alone are not enough. If a practice is important, it deserves to be formalized, particularly in an industry like events, long hour, high pressure, unpredictable schedule. So if let's say we do not intentionally protect people, burnout can quietly become normal. So the assessment helped us move from believing we care about people to building systems that ensure people are actually cared for. And looking back, that mindset shift may be one of the most valuable outcomes of our entire B Corp journey.
Yeah, actually also one honest suggestion I would say, as the one who will take the lead from A to Z completing the whole B Corp certification, my department itself, the marketing, actually having challenge in gathering all the proof, the documentation, compile and also submit for the certification. I will need to liaise very closely with my finance team, my operation team, my sales team, how they actually approach client, how they report all the governance things with compliance practice, all these things. So if I could go back to the day one when I start explore the assessment, it would be start documenting earlier. The assessment actually does not reward what we do. It rewards what we can prove that we did. So a lot of what we already practicing actually, for example, how we select our clients, how our community initiative, how we treat our team, so much of it live in our culture already. We already always doing it and never stop. but they are all not on the paper, not in the policy, not in the record. There's no record for it, no documentation. So the moment we started formalizing it, our score actually moved. Can see that it's up and down, but it's moving. Yeah. So if you are in the audience tonight and maybe you are thinking to actually get this B Corp certification, my honest suggestion is start documenting early. It may be something you are going to do, a new initiative, or even your current initiative or policy. Just start documentation. It will greatly help you in the progression.
So I think as summary, I think the biggest lesson for ACE is this. B Corp didn't change who ACE is, but B Corp simply hold up a mirror in front of us. And sometimes the mirror can be very uncomfortable. They show our strength, but they also show our gap. So for us, it confirmed many things we were already doing well. It also highlighted area we have room of improvements, area where good intention has not yet become a system. And that's why I often tell the business owners or all my friends who opt for B Corp, I say, don't see B Corp as an exam, see it as a discovery process. Just like what Imran said earlier, doesn't matter about the score, whether you score 50, 70 or 90. The real value is what you learn about your own business along the way. We are still learning, we are still improving, and we are definitely not perfect, but the journey has helped us become more intentional about the kind of company we want to build. And perhaps that's the most important outcome of all. So we hope tonight gave you a practical and honest perspective of what the B Corp journey really looked like from the inside, and I hope I'm not scared you off. So, oh yeah, before I pass it back to Z, one last summary, if I may. What I feel about BIA is the score got us certified, but the journey made us better. Yeah, over to you.
That was very good. Thank you so much, Mickey. And also to Kelly as well for sharing so much about how you guys managed to go through your journey and all the ups and downs, as well as Amelia. I'm sure we've taken something away that we might not all have known, because not everybody has the opportunity to take the BIA, but I hope tonight will change your mind on that. As well, in the Q&A, we have a few questions here. So let's take a look at one of them. So one of the questions from our audience is, what unexpected benefits have companies discovered after becoming B Corp certified? Perhaps I can ask Amelia to give us an answer for this one.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you catch what I mentioned earlier as well. Other than the winning a competition that compete among SME, as well as the MIDA grant, I think one of the most important is how our brand stand across other vendors when we are competing for a corporate client. So nowadays, I do believe that some of you may be engaged by those corporate clients. They would drop you a very, very long vendor assessment questionnaire, especially the part they have a section called the ESG section, where you need to answer a lot of questions. And I find it after getting a B Corp certification, it actually has a website link that is dedicated to your company name. Like for example, if you just search B Corp Asia Market or B Corp ACE or B Corp Fuller Academy, right, you will automatically can see that web page that is only the certified B Corp has dedicated for all of the B Corp. So when you fill up those vendor assessment or questionnaire, literally your prospect client, right, is able to tell, oh, what sort of balancing initiative that you do other than earning profit as a company, and you balance that profit with benefiting the people and planet. So they will know where you score highest, the most, and whatnot. Now, back to the benefit is you would build that credibility with those prospect clients in a way that this client, they are listed company, or they could be a MNC, as big as like Danone, Nestle, and so on. So they definitely would want to look for a a trustworthy vendor who also equally know about what sustainability is and have implemented some of the ESG initiative, and they definitely give a very, very good rating to this type of vendor. So this is also another, I would say, the non-tangible benefit that we gain from embarking into this B Corp. Yeah, hope that answers your questions.
Thank you very much, Amelia. So we also have another question about B Corp itself. Maybe I can direct this to Yibing perhaps, because someone is asking, is B Corp relevant if you are not planning to sell internationally? Oh, Yibing, you're on mute.
How about now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, all good.
Okay. Well, we get that question a lot. In fact, that's the question that I asked Amelia, since Signature Market was previously majority in the domestic market, while now you are actually expanding to Singapore. Why is it necessarily for a domestic player, a brand that doesn't really recognize? I think going back to the point of what Mickey, Imran, and Amelia shared, sometime the perception of B Corp is always like it's a reputational building thing. It's a way to separate a good marketing from a real company, or you park B Corp under a way in such a way that it is actually a communication exercise. It's a reputational building, more of a PR corporate com. But the essence of it of B Corp is really about identifying what really matters to your organization when it comes to the sustainability pillars, and starting to really implement certain practice to act on it, right? Because sustainability, to be honest, is a very wide area. You look at environment alone, you have your air emissions, water, waste, right? You have also chemicals and toxins and whatnot. Workers alone, you have, your safety and safety for the workers, well-being, compensations, etc., etc. In terms of governance, also you have not just your ethics, but also how your organization is structured, right? A lot of time, B Corp is actually a seal to tell people that your organization is trustworthy and you manage your risk well. These are not just your ESG risk, but also your reputational risk, because you have a robust governance. Logically speaking, your organizations will be less prone to involve in any form of a scandal. And you can be assured that, when people see you are a third-party audit, it's not self-boasting. It's not just a sustainability report that you write very nicely about yourself. It's third-party check. So people can be very, very confident, about your conduct, your practice. There's also on top of what, Miki has put it very nicely, is a self-improvement. Here's the catch. ESG is going to stay. Climate change is getting worse. I mean, we are starting to experiencing, a hotter weather. If you're in Malaysia, you're definitely experiencing that. It is going to stay, and regulatory requirements will going to be tighter. It's a matter of whether you are ready now or you want to be, preparing later on, right? So, I think if let's say you would like to go for B Corp as a domestic player and you want that third-party accreditation, feel free to get it. But of course, we also understand that B Corp is not for everybody, but at least you have one free tool for you to benchmark yourself where your practice are. Right? Ultimately, it's up to the organization see whether B Corps will really align with their brand proposition, and also to convey the strong governance within their organizations, to project their credibility. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Yibing. Thank you for answering that question. And thank you for those who also left a question in the Q&A box. The next question is, maybe I will direct this to Ms. Kelly and Ms. Mickey. So what are the most significant operational changes organizations typically make during their B Corp journey? So perhaps for an events company, this might look very different from what normal or regular business would look like.
Kelly, you want to take this?
I can talk a bit.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. The most significant operational changes, if I were to say, from the business side, I left the the workers part to Mickey. If from a business perspective, actually, I can say that sorry, our question is about the operational change or the benefiting operation,
The
right?
operational
Operation.
changes.
Yeah.
The operation. Okay. In terms of the operational changes in our company, right? Actually, we didn't change much. As what I said just now, what we're already doing is already the correct things we are doing. Just that now adding on to the certification, we are getting certified. Means our initiative is being recognized as ESG practice. So in terms of like, also same goes to what Amelia mentioned just now. Usually we receive a lot of vendor procurement certified question. They have a long list of assessment as well, which following the ESG conversation is actually accelerating in the, especially among the corporate clients. All the Bursa listing framework, the SDG, UN framework, all are actually they are kind of synchronizing globally. That's why in terms of vendor, to us, the event agency actually, to be frank, we are also one of the vendor to the corporate clients. So they actually screen all these things very thoroughly in terms of how we take on this ESG stand. So in this case, the certification works very well in how we promoting our own ESG branding, I would say, especially as an SME and event agency. So actually we do screen, it attract the right kind of client to us as well. Yeah, so I think the operational changes not really change us, but it kind of like bringing the correct pool of exposure and also the direction that we are going through in terms of our service, our clientele as well.
Well said. I think Kelly already said almost all, but I just want to add on is actually it helped us to make us more intentionally to select our client as well. So like what I mentioned earlier, in some of client like came in, we do have a lot of tenders like daily, but it's make us very carefully to choose which client we want to go for. Like for example, is there's a client like doing in gambling or gray zone kind of businesses, then we will definitely reject orders. It changed us very, very less because we already in that practice. For example, human rights and labor standard. If let's say event industry well, a lot of people are using forced labor or child labor. To us, it's not child, it's by like 15 years old, 14 years old as a part-time, in the midnight, just for a few hours, earn the pocket money. It's not a forced labor. It's just typically they fall under child labor. But in our company and in all our supply chain, we won't let this happen. Yeah, so this is something that we hold up very high standard, that whoever or all the vendors that want to work with us, they have to sign agreement with us on the code of conduct to make sure that they also hold up on the high standard with us as well. So this is something that we add on the governance after we have this BIA. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Kelly and Mickey. So we're running a little bit low on time. I want to fit one last question in here. This one goes to Yibing. So maybe people might have missed this in the beginning, but you mentioned interoperability, that's a tongue twister, between sustainability reporting standards and B Corp standards. So maybe you can just share what kind of standards these are.
Okay, but before I even go into the interoperability, there is a lot of confusions between, reporting certifications and whatnot. In fact, a lot of people will say that, well, I have GRI, I have a report complying with GRI, or complying with IFRS, or complying with ESRS, and why should I need a B Corp? I mean, first of all, that we need to recognize standards and certifications are two different animals altogether. We don't compare apple to orange and so on. The standards are basically a guideline. They prescribe what you're supposed to do, but it doesn't mandate you to do every single thing. So for example, in GRI or in IFRS, if you have considered certain topics, for example, maybe the recyclings are not material, or in the plain language, not significant and doesn't affect your organization, it doesn't give you a risk So as you, technically speaking, you can actually ignore it, right? You don't need to disclose it, right? But for certification standards, it's not so much on what you choose to be important, whatnot. It's basically established fact that, these are the important things that you must comply in order to meet the high standards. Now, when it comes to interoperability, because different standards will prescribe a certain disclosure in greater detail. For example, if you have already considered that, well, GHG emission is actually significant for my organization because I'm operating in a carbon-intensive industry, right? So if let's say you identify carbon is material to you, carbon is important to you, usually the standards will tell you detail what are the things that you're supposed to disclose. For example, scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 GHG emissions. Even within the scope 3 out of the 15, you need to really justify and select which are actually the appropriate one. So for B Lab, what we do is that in our climate action standards, we are aligning this with whatever that is required of, for example, in the ESRS, European Sustainability Reporting Standards, as well as the GRI, IFRS, and so on. For labor, some of the labor and human rights, so we have one topic on human rights. We are actually aligning with the ILO conventions, and even some of the governance level model, we are actually aligning with the OECD. Now, perhaps you may not be able to imagine how detailed it is, but I can tell you it is actually a paragraph by paragraph alignment. So if let's say you're complying, let's say in Human Rights 1.1 in our standards, you are conceptually aligning, for example, in ESRS, what they call S2, paragraph 3, for example, right? So it's that level of the what they call interoperability there, right? But just to be careful here, for example, if you're complying doesn't mean that you're automatically aligning and you're free, what they call directly complying with the certain regulations. Context really matters, but at least when you're complying with A in the B Corp standards, at least you know that, on what level you are interoperable with some other standards, which means that in the spiritual sense, the conceptual sense, you're aligned. I hope that answers your question and happy to take it more. In fact, we will discover this even more in our upcoming B Corp Asia Summit. We have a dedicated breakout group to actually share with you. And I think tonight we didn't manage to get the time to really cover the elephants in the room. Like really sustainability is actually profitable or not, like what Mickey shared, they actually decline some of the clients, and it does appears that it places a lot of restriction and, like, well, I have to document this, document. You look like a very tedious process and maybe not resulting in, even profit gain. But in our summit, we have assembled all the panels. These are internationals and even very qualified investors come in and share their perspective on this. So we hope you can join us. And well, interoperability will be one of the hot topics that we will discuss.
Thank you so much, Yibeng. And yes, we are actually out of time, but I want to thank everyone for joining us this evening. Thank you again to Imran, Amelia, Mickey, and Kelly as well, and Yibeng, of course, for setting the stage so well. Thank you everyone who joined us, and I hope this gives you something to think about. If you want to jump into a deeper conversation with our panelists here, you can find them at the B Corp Asia Summit. I'm also going to drop a link in the Q&A chat now. So there will be the link to sign up for the B Corp Asia Summit. If you register with us, you will get 10% off your ticket. So we hope that's an incentive for you to come and join the conversation and find out more about B Corp and the BIA and whether or not it's suitable for your business. So we really hope to see you there. And again, thanks very much for joining us tonight. I hope you have a good night for the rest of the evening, and hope to see you there at BCAS. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
G, if I may just jump one more in,
Yes, go
G.
ahead.
Yeah, I just want to highlight also that Above Creative Event is actually one of our main event organizer for the summit. Yeah, thanks then that this thing will happen.
Do join us.
Yes.
See you all
Thank you,
there.
everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.